Hello peeps, thank you for joining my channel. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to intertwine with me and let me be gracious enough to have another session on my channel. 2 pennies, 2 cents, the podcast. And of course, people by now, I'm hopefully, and everybody's knowing, I am Nino. First of all, I gotta thank the man upstairs for waking me up, letting me go and be productive, and operate another 24. Now, thank you to all my fans. Thank you for continue to ride with me, get in this car, buckle up, and we go on this journey. Thank you for being gracious and kind. I appreciate you. Because even though I'm discussing a lot of topics, and I know some of them you will like, and some of them you won't, but still, I'm just going to come with it, and I appreciate you really valuing what my opinions are and what I think. Also, don't forget to click that like button because, again, I appreciate how the subscriptions are mounting up or multiplying. Now, I'm going to discuss kind of a dark horse of a crime that's been happening since back in the 40s, I believe back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. See, I'm old school. But it also associates and it runs its course through the millenniums. It can happen to anybody. So I would like to discuss this because, again, this topic was brought to me and I always try to delve in and do my research and, again, try to bring it to you the best I can be. Tonight, I'm going to discuss how never leave your drink unattended while at a party. Let me say that again. Girls and boys, women and men, whether you're 20 to 70 years old, never doing, when you're at a party and you're having fun, say you have to go to a bathroom, or say you have to go use, the girls got, the women got to use the little girls' room, and the men got to use the little boys' room. Never leave your drink unattended, because I'm finna break down some points why. And also, by the time I finish, I'm going to come to you and discuss, and my testimony is through something that happened through this event that's very close to me in my heart. Never walk away from your drink, men and women. More often than not, when date rape comes, yes, when date rape comes into play, yes, men can be laced up with a drink as well as women. Date rape doesn't have no specific victim. Date rape is an equal opportunity crime. It doesn't wake up in the morning and say, okay, well, I'm going to basically lean on these women a little bit more harder than I'm going to lean on these men. Date rape can happen to anybody. Date rape can happen like women can be around a lot of women. Date rape can happen like men can be around a lot of men. Anybody can be a victim of date rape. I can recount in my memory a male. He was a victim of the crime. Deserted left in a deserted street. He was left with no money, no wallet, or no ID. It was a blessing his cell phone was left. He would be okay, ended up being okay. He reported the incident to the police. By the time any credit card had been maxed out, fortunately, by reporting the incident immediately, it opened up a case, protected him of fraudulent acts towards his credit card, which meaning they got his credit card, they maxed out all his money, because all you need to do is use it as credit. You don't have to have a personal PIN number or nothing like that. But fortunately, as it was said, his cell phone was left. So when he got up and came to his senses, he was able to really move with quickness, call the police, and reported that he had been a victim of date rape, and his drink was laced, and they had took all his personal ID. Now, date rape doesn't mean that you rape. Date rape just means a lot of time people, something was put in their drink, they was knocked out, and people either get robbed or all their valuables are taken. Date rape does happen, but date rape is not always actually the act happen. It's just that it's knocking people out. And most of the time when date rape occurs, the main source that everybody is trying to do, the culprits that are doing the date rape, they're trying to take, rob somebody, take their money, get a hold of their ID, rob their bank account or max out their bank account, as it was saying. Date rape is something else. They were able to apprehend the individuals and charges was made. He did okay having blood work. Again, do not leave your drink unattended. If you feel like you're going to be gone for even 5 minutes, let that drink go. You got some pesos or some dollars on you, always buy you another drink. Always buy you another drink. Don't leave that drink sitting there, because that is open season for date rape or your drink getting laced. And when that happens, then people, as I said, from back in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, on up to now, get victimized by that, and they either get robbed or, again, they get raped. Always be aware of your surroundings. No matter where I go, and I will teach anybody that's, say we going to a party with, be aware of your surroundings. Notice from when you walk in there, who's standing over there, who's doing the most. That's why a lot of times when you go to a party, don't go in there too hyped and too turned up and upbeat. Sit back. You know how they say great NBA players, they let the game come to them? When you go into a party and you sitting back and being aware of your surroundings, kind of let the party come to you before you go in there and just try to be the life of the party. Let the party come to you. Be aware of your surroundings. No exit doors, as I said in the building. Always be on the buddy-buddy system. This incident occurred during a bachelor party in a big city, not far from his home. He was very fortunate. Drugs can kill you. Even on the buddy-buddy system, which is cool, still, I would say, monitor how you drink it. Even if you are a heavy drinker and you got to take them little pills, I think you get at the, you can get at the neighborhood 7-Eleven, or you can get at the drugstore. What they are a pill that you can take, and if you drink a lot, it will minimize the overall alcohol intoxication that's getting your bloodstream, which means you'll drink a lot, but when you take the pills, you won't be as drunk, because let's be for real. When you're drunk, it's not nothing but you just dehydrated. So it keeps you hydrated. So you won't be so intoxicated that you lose thought. And then when you lose thought a lot of time and you're intoxicated or going overboard drinking, that's where you'll slip off and leave your drink, because now your mind is absorbed and consumed with a lot of alcohol. So, just like I said, when you go on the party, let the party come to you. Be aware of the party. Even with the buddy. Don't just depend on your friends. You depend on yourself. You do your part to let possibly date rape or somebody lacing your drink. Make sure that doesn't happen to you or your partner. Now, I can recall another incident involving a young, hard-working, healthy male. His name was Bubba. Bubba was an impressionable, he was an impressionable young male. Definitely great qualities of a promising young leader. When Bubba was 16 years old, he was already promoted a manager of a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bubba was a great young man. As I said, hard working. Bubba, his family consisted of, it was Bubba, his little brother, his mother, his aunt, and one of her kids, one of her daughters. So see, Bubba took on the responsibility as the man role in that. He took on the responsibility, I'm the man of the house. 16 years old and already promoted manager at a KFC, a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, a lot of you millennials might not know about too much about Kentucky Fried Chicken. They are up now, but this point where I'm coming from is just an old school fact. But what I'm trying to say, Bubba was a hard-working young man, a great young man. But he followed me. Follow me. Like Snoop, you say, follow me. I'm gonna get to the meat of this. Just keep following. KFC indeed was one of the bigger food chains back then. He was making a nice amount of money. Fast forward, Bubba was now in his early 20s of age. So back then, the big thing for a hard-working young man like Bubba, or men after putting in a hard week of grinding, doing his managerial duties at KFC, Bubba was tall, light-skinned, with a big afro. He put you in the image of, y'all ever seen the Mac Goldie, the light-skinned dude that was tall, slim, slim with the tilted brim, and he had a big fro. Bubba was a ladies' man. But going back to this, after Bubba and them would put a hard weekend of grinding and everything, they would go down to the local university. Back then, that's where they hang out with. Him and his friends, he had a couple of friends, 4 friends, they kind of remind me of, you remember Good Times? When JJ named the Fearsome Foursome, it was Bubba, it was Grasshopper, it was Cooper, and it was Adolph. And they all growed up together. But Bubba and his friends, back then, after he put in a nice hard week of working at the KFC, they would go out of town, about 30 miles outside the city, and go down to the university. That's where the hangout was, They like to go down there and kick it with them college girls. Because, Bubba and them was in their early 20s, and a lot of college girls they were at least grown, but a lot of college girls were 19 to 20, 21. And from what I was hearing, them college girls was pretty hot too. But that's what the hangout they would go. See, peeps, back then, Bubba and his homeboys hung out at the hot spot. That was the hot spot. As I said, the university had a multitude of very beautiful, attractive, book-witted females who one weekend, they had a concert date down there. So Bubba and the fellas had tickets to attend that concert. Bubba again. It was Bubba, Adolf, Coop, and Grasshopper. Man, them some names. That's why I'm finna get to this part about, even though it says always go buddy buddy, but something tragic can happen even with your buddies there. Because remember, date rape and a lot of this lace in your drinks, the hand is quicker than the eye. And you can have 2 eyes, you can have 4 eyes, you can have 6 eyes, 8 eyes. That's 4 fellas. But if they down there get intoxicated, or if they look off, the hand is quicker than the eye. But continue to follow me. So they went to this concert, to the university that weekend. That was the usual routine, it seemed. The concert was a blast. Bubba and the fellas were partying, having a good time, having drinks at the after party. They attended the after party afterwards of the concert. That's when everything went left. That's when Bubba life changed. And I'm not only saying changed that night. Bubba life changed for the rest of his time breathing on God's green earth. But I'm going to get to it. That changed Bubba until he went home to the good Lord with eternal sleep. Anyway, Bubba went to the bathroom as the story was told. So, again, he forgot. He got a little intoxicated. He had his buddies there, but they're off, socializing, kicking it, fraternizing, talking to the young ladies. So everybody's focus is unfocused now. Bubba goes to the bathroom. He comes back, and Bubba ends up leaving his drink, and he comes back and starts sipping on the drink that he had left unattended. Bubba didn't get robbed. No, he didn't get robbed. He didn't get robbed. His personal IDs, data didn't get stolen. But after that night, Bubba's behavior was peculiar. Days to weeks, until months on, Bubba lost all his common sense. How to act, like his mind strictly was altered. So much that his mother had to make doctor's appointments for psychoanalysis, etc. Something was wrong with Bubba. Bubba couldn't function on an everyday self-control. He couldn't. Bubba had this, his life just altered. He just had changed. The diagnosis was Bubba had been laced with, back then was called a Mickey Finn. It's the equivalent of a date rape. See, they call it date rape now because the evolution of it. But back when Bubba was laced with that Mickey Finn, and it turned his mind and turned his whole body, spirit, for the rest of his life, it was called back a Mickey Finn. It was dropped in his drink. Bubba wasn't raped, as I was saying. Bubba couldn't work anymore. 20 years plus, a healthy, vibrant, hard-working young man. As I said, ladies' man, big afro, tall, light-skinned, slender, slim with a tilted brim, had him a nice car, also took the provider role in the family. Remember again, Bubba was working and trying to hold down the house. He was head of the household, though his mom worked and his aunt worked, but he was head of the household. He had this managerial job. He was actually holding down his mom, his little brother, his aunt, and his little cousin that was his aunt's daughter. Bubba was doing this thing. But all of this All of this came to a sudden, abrupt halt once Bubba was laced with that Mickey Finn. Bubba got so bad that he had to have supervision. He couldn't work no more. They had to put Bubba on all kind of medication. I'm talking about, you literally seen a great Picasso literally crumble, and that painting went to one of the greatest paintings all, to just straight rubbish. I mean, it was unbelievable, all because they dropped that Mickey Finn. They dropped that pill in his drink and laced him. Bubba's whole life, I can't keep saying it, just changed. He would take medication. As soon as he would get off the medication, because, after this point, his mind is gone so bad, he done lost all self-control that he was so dependent on the medication. But after a while, you take so much medication that you just get tired of it. But he couldn't afford to stop taking it even one day or a couple of days, because his mind would trigger again the effect of the Mickey Finn, and he would start to losing, his common sense, his wits. Bubba got so bad that he attempted suicide. Yes, he attempted suicide, but see, the man upstairs wasn't ready for Bubba to go. He attempted to jump off a top-level bridge, in which he did, because his mind had was bad. But the man upstairs didn't take him. Now, he had massive bodily injuries. Basically, his most damaging injuries was he actually broke both of his ankles, and he had to get pins in them. He couldn't walk for 6 months. He was bedridden. Now, he lived through this. He lived through this a long time after he attempted the suicide. But he still attempted suicide, and this is all because of that drink that laced him for years. I'm talking about the effect that Mickey Finn had on Bubba. I know can count. He was in his 20s, and it had that effect on Bubba till he laid down and rested, till he went home to the good Lord. The irony of this is why you say, why you know in such detail about Bubba, you have great memory about this, because this hits home. Because see, Bubba was my big brother. My mom was the lady. I was the little kid, his little brother, that he was taking care of when he was back 16 years old, had that managerial job at KFC. My mom and my aunt stayed together, and my cousin, daughter, her name was Jacinda. She was younger too. Bubba took care of all of us, even though my mom and my aunt worked. That's why I'm saying it hit home to me. Bubba was my brother, and I never will forget that. I mean, his life was strictly turned upside down, because he was at a party, at a concert. He went to the bathroom. He left his drink unattended, and somebody put a Mickey Finn in his drink. This hit so home to me is, here's Bubba right here. See, this is my brother. I had him cremated. And I'm not on here for pity, but Nino gonna bring the truth. My meaning is people from 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, to 40 to 50. And I know you grown. I can't tell you what to do. But when you go to parties, Don't leave your drink unattended. People are evil and mean and vicious out here. People thrive on hurting people. You know why? Because they are hurt emotionally themselves. This is my brother Bubba right here. He was in his early 20s when he got laced with that Mickey Finn. He died 2021, the month of April. He was 67 years old. So we say from his early 20s to 67 years old, the effect of him getting laced or that Mickey Finn took a toll on his life for 40 years. Again, this is my brother Bubba, and I loved him to death. But people, please, when you go out and party, have fun, because that's what a party is. You can have a buddy, but don't depend on your buddy, because take initiative yourself. Be leery of your surroundings yourself. If you have to, look out for you and your partners. So you know how that old saying, when you go out, everybody can't get drunk because we need a designated driver. When you go out and go to these parties and everybody drink, somebody hold back, because we need, or y'all need, a designator. Somebody be designated to be composed. Because again, people are doing mean things out here. They want to hurt people. My brother, again, was a hard-working soul. Great young man. Had 2 boys. Generous, kind. Ladies' man and everything. But one night, going out of town, down to the college, at a concert, he left his drink unattended, and it changed his life forever till he left April of 2021 when he went home to see the man upstairs. Don't leave your drink unattended at a party. Never. Never. Before you do that, just leave it and go buy you another drink. Do not leave your drink unattended at a party. That's a big no-no. 2 pennies, 2 cents. This is your man Nino.